Hello everyone, how you doing today? Thought I would show you an update what I've been working on a little bit here. I haven't had a whole lot of time again, but been trying to get this Cerberus complete. Obviously here's the original one. Here is the new Skaar version of it, all set up a lot different. Since the last video I did a number of things to it, and I wanted to do something else today on the video, a couple little things. I did bulk up the front end over here and moved a turret down again. On the last rendition, it was very weak here between this front area and where the shield was. So I have now bulked that up with a whole lot of extra combat steel blocks and things like that. Keeping an eye on where the generators and things like that are, trying to make that work out better. Also been working on the interior a fair amount. Now, size class, it will be a size class 7 versus the original is a 5. I'm hoping that's not a huge issue. It was kind of impossible to really try to add a lot more detail into the ship and not make the size class higher, especially when I'm putting in more guns and things too. And all the other new stuff. Now, on the last video too, there was a comment that was saying the front end kind of looked a little froggy, and versus like the original had a different look to it over here. In some regards, I agree. It's I had a little different style with the front end of this one than I do on the new one, and the new one's more roundy, and with the glass is kind of rounded off as well. But yeah, I can sort of see that. So I might try to come up with alternative on the cockpit. I want it to look fierce. I don't want it to look froggy. So that's kind of what I'm looking at there. As in the interior right now, most of it is got its first level of detail at least. Now I haven't done lighting, LCDs, or all the fine detail, and that's kind of what I wanted to show on this video. Now one change from the original, let me just, wrong side. On the original one, I did have some rooms up over here. I just kind of walked over here to the side, and it stored some extra parts and a little bit of RCS and stuff like that in these rooms, but not a whole lot was done there, and obviously you can see it's kind of just more of a thick wall. So on the new one, since I rebuilt this entire leg structure anyway, I had a little bit more room. So what I did is I put in a secondary door over here, and now it has access down into the legs, which would give you access to a whole bunch of the thrusters. Now this would be a dangerous room to walk in. I'm trying to keep you away mostly from the thrusters, but you get awfully close to this down thruster right as you walk in, so this would be kind of a caution area, and I'll try to put some kind of indications up there that this is a high heat zone. But I just figured, why not? You know, it's keep all the thrusters exposed from the interior in case you want to do some repairs or something manually. You can gain access, and also you have some windows here in the back legs that I kind of hid in there a little bit, so they don't really stick out much, but you can sort of see through them. I thought that was kind of fun. In other areas of the ship here, let's see this. Alright, so this front area here, now I haven't put in lighting or the final detail. It looks like I'm missing some textures again. I'm good at that. There we go. One thing I try to do with this metal texture here is align it better. Now I need to seal this off and get a door there, and I added quite a lot more fuel tanks to this ship again too. I originally had quite a few, and I took a lot out when I was redoing everything. Now I'm putting a lot back in, so I've got some fuel tanks here, I got some fuel tanks in the back area, I've got some fuel tanks in the engineering area. Speaking of the engineering area, I did make another small change in here. Now I've got to do a lot of detailing on this ship yet, so there's a lot of areas that are just kind of right now, and they all need to be tweaked and detailed. I did get my separation between the warp core and the shield by a block now as well when I did that front end thing. So that is helping. I got to figure out all kinds of neaty little things to try to make everything real pretty now. And I got one more room that I have not looked at, and well, looks like I'm missing some textures in the elevator here too. Oh well, let's take a look at this area real quick. This area is a little flat and plain right now as well. I did kind of extended this area out and getting in a lot of other functions of the ship in here. Repair bay, or I'm sorry, armor repair and armor lockers, and then a med setup here. So it's got virtually everything in here. And then your O2 is right on the other side. And then you've got your two farm sections out in this area here. So I'm popping in 4 fridges. That might be a bit much, but I kind of wanted it so they're, you got the same function on either side of this area. And then the bridge is very, very plain right now, but I'm thinking I want to modify this a lot anyway, so I might as well hold off until later. Now this does have I did take and use one of these blast doors here for the drone hatch on this ship. Something the original ship didn't have either. So that part's getting there. What is left on the interior to do up is the room above here, which is going to have a fair amount of area, and this is really going to be pretty much fluff. One thing I think I will incorporate in here is like some jail cells, some crew quarters, and a small like little mess hall area, something like that. I think I can fit all that in here pretty decently. I'm going to use all carbon substrate for the interior blocks in here, and I got to deal with a lot of cargo extensions in the area, so I got to watch my texturing on where I do things, and I also got to kind of wall this area off here some because it's kind of exposed to the underside right now, which that needs to be fixed. So that's how that's coming along. I ended up putting the pentaxa tank kind of right in the ceiling here, as well as your detector and Wi-Fi. So essentially this area has all your stuff. I mean, anything you should want to get to for if you walk up and do manual ship operations should be in this area. The hangar is left pretty clean, short of a couple small constructors up here in a storage box next to each one of those. So at this point, what I really wanted to do is start to get in some lighting and more detail, as well as kind of rebuild or attempt to come up with a better design for the front of the ship on the bridge area. But, well, to start with here, this whole area around the back of the hangar is really not done yet. So I was thinking, let's try to do something here a minute. So, being interior blocks, I am using a lot of carbon substrate there to keep mainly the size class down. It has quite a bit of thrust power to this ship, so I'm not so worried about moving the weight. It's just really a war against size class on this one. CPU is not a concern whatsoever. It's a tier 4, not even anywhere near tier 4, maximum tier 4. So there's no issue with CPU whatsoever on this ship. It's just basically size class, and I will not go past size class 7. So I got to watch everything I'm doing. Try not to use super expensive blocks and things like that. Over here, I want to make this look kind of neat somehow, and I've been contemplating some ideas on what I could try to do here. Thinking about maybe trying to get some metal framing up over in these sections. So let's kind of start there and see how it comes out. Maybe make a couple of tweaks along the way. So with the Skaar faction, I do use a lot of these like double thin blocks. as I think they feel kind of appropriate. They kind of like metal beams and stuff like that, and that's kind of what I wanted to see in a ship like this. So say we add something like that there. Be actually kind of cool if this was extended, but it would cost more blocks. But I'm gonna try it anyway for now. I can't imagine this should cost too much in size class, but we'll find out. So whatever I can get in here to make it look better, the better. And then over here, what I could do is take out those, and then also, here, let's just run this straight on through to there. Oh, no, I didn't want to quite do that, but, and let's put in the ones that have the slight edge on them so they line up right. Like that. Just getting that framework in, which I think is important for the look I'm trying to pull off on this. Alright, so that's a little something there. Now, let's see, in the corner here, I've got some weird blocks here, so let's see if we can fit something in there that would work with that particular angle that kind of curves into the side, something like maybe this. And get that in there, and maybe even follow that through like this here, which lines up to the other blocks. And that kind of giving you that little bit of a roundy, little curved edge around there. So on this back area here, what could be different here? Maybe more of these. So they probably should line up to the actual framing here. So maybe this center column, which I think would make more sense. So let's see, let's grab a couple of these. That. I'm gonna not run beams across the center here. I want to keep this open for lights. Okay, so we've got that. Now what can we put between the two of those areas? That would feel at least somewhat appropriate. Could do something like this, but I'm going to rotate this block the other way so I can get my textures where I want them to be. So let's see, we did that, and then maybe add in some pipes that flow between the two. And then let's get something on the front here. Some texture lights would be appropriate on the back here too. So I'm going to use this block, which gives me this blunt edge on the front, which works out great for a texture light. One other thing I'm going to have to think about too is where I'm going to throw in O2 inside the hangar here. Yeah, you can kind of see how that's coming out here. So speaking of the texturing part of this, doing that I think would work out pretty good. Let's texture these pipes. I think for now I'll just run that. Get all these ends put in here. What I'm going to do is try to do a pattern here. So I'm just trying to split up the texturing a little bit. So we'll run some like that. I'm just trying to keep to some kind of formation if possible. Okay, like that. And then on these bottom areas, let's run an alternative. That fits there pretty good. Something like that. And so this is kind of like the part when I'm kind of getting into the final detailing of areas of the ship. Another big step in that is going to be the lighting and LCDs and or deco consoles or deco in general. so let's try to make all those kind of just stand out a little bit more. Something like that. Alright, and then on the ends, maybe put that. And let's see, what else could we put here? How about some beams there? Trying to use, you know, get some texture detail in here, and that's, you know, a lot of the surfaces I got in here right now are just that crude metal, and I need to make that look prettier too. So that's I'll be incorporating in some more textures here pretty soon on all that. Let's just keep these normal, something like that, and alright, so that part's a little bit better now. Put the same thing over here. Alright, so how about some venty things there, and some kind of texture, either like maybe try to get a little of that in there, and could put in something like that there. Just fill in the rest. And okay. Well, it's a little bit better. I'm not liking this part right here though. How this kind of indents there, and then these look like they don't touch it. So let's change this around a bit. What could I actually do there? How about like, I don't care about this, the center lines up though. I don't like how it flows over those areas yet. So maybe actually pop that in there. Actually, you know what? Let's just run that straight. Like that. Yeah, I think that'll work. Alright. So now color separation here. We've got the darker metal here. Thinking about doing like a little bit lighter metal here on these areas. Give it a little contrast in some of the areas at least. Gotta watch it. I don't want to overdo this too much, but I do like how that looks there. So maybe I'll change the pipe textures around a little bit. Add in something different there. Kind of, yeah, a little peculiar there. All right, and just fill in some of this areas that you probably never see. And maybe a couple of those instead there. Alright. So it's kind of like stuff like that what I'm doing right now. And of course, every time I add blocks, I'm going to jump the size class up. So I mean, we're at 6.3 right now. So it would actually go to 7.49 before it would well, beyond 7.49 would be the next size class thing. So again, I shouldn't hit that. I don't have that much more to add. Now lighting will take some too. All right, well, speaking of lighting, let's try to do something with lighting in the hangar. Now right now I'm going to shut off symmetry for this one here and put the lights at nighttime, and obviously I hardly have any lights in here at all right now. I think I got like one light up front here. That's not too cool. Now one issue with lighting this ship is, well, in the hangar, is the hangar's tall. If I were to get some lights here real quick, There we go. If I were to put some lights in the center, like here, like I'll remove this one, but I just want to show you what's going to happen. Is I'm gonna jump this light up really cool, really big. So I'll give it like intensity 2. I'm gonna max out the range. Well, you know, I guess it does. It does just kind of reach the floor, so it is lighting that, isn't it? I was worried that it was so high up in the air that it would not illuminate the floor, and I was wondering if I shouldn't build some things out to put the lights down another block row. Um, All right, well, that's one thing there. Here, let me get a little more light again. Well, you know what? I tell you what, we'll just go to the flashlight here a minute. So, okay, now here's the thing. What I want to do is I want to illuminate areas I want to stick out, like maybe this top area here. So rather than putting a center light in there, what I'm thinking about trying to do is somehow get an angled light in the ceiling that can point this direction somewhere. So a good light for that actually is this one here, because rather than just shooting straight down, it kind of like throws light off to the side, more at a 45-degree angle. And if I can center that right in that area, like say we put a light there, that is going to give some illumination to this room from the outside, which I kind of like. And I could like do that up on the other side as well. So now we got to figure out like light colors and things like that too. Now this part here always kind of sucks. It's limited. I typically only use with Skaar this gray light, this particular like kind of orangish red light, and once in a while, if I'm trying to blend the two together, this kind of light red over here. And those are the standard colors for lighting. But yeah, I kind of want a contrast between the two. Like I don't want the whole interior all red, because that's just monotonous. So I try to like, I might say if these were red over here, then what I would want to do over here on the next area is maybe try to switch that lighting around. Or in this case, these rooms here could use their own light. So, let's see. I kind of want the light somewhere above the door area, or at least centered in here. So maybe like here, we pop in a light, and we'll change the light color of this to gray. And I'm going to lower its range a little bit. And I'm also going to up its spotlight angle, which will give it a little more illumination to light that up, kind of like what you see there. I usually do lighting not in symmetry, because symmetry, if it puts in the light on the other side, will not put in any of its settings. It's better to just put in one if you like it. The next light you place will have those settings of the previous. That's getting a little bit. And here's the thing, I'm kind of wondering if I shouldn't just throw this off and like change this one to slightly different on one side versus the other. This part takes a lot of tweaking, by the way, too. You can kind of just keep on messing with the lighting, and you know, you just until it looks good, until it looks right to you, is basically the deal. Now, something else is I wouldn't mind getting some light on this hangar door back here too. So I know it looks like there's a lot of lights in one area, but I'm projecting it out from this area. So if we had another angled light here, and maybe if this light was a different shade again, and we'll up the radius on that, and get a little bit of light on the back door. Now another trick too is all the lights I've just put in here are all spotlights. Now what I do like to do is put in an occasional non-spotlight too, because it gives you a little bit different of effect, where it kind of lights up the area a little more uniformly, I guess you could say. kind of keeping an idea or keeping thoughts open on where I could do something like that too. Alright, so let's try something very similar over here at these hangar doors. I just kind of worry that it's going to be a little too high in the air to show it well. Oh, and this is temporary. I have no idea. I'll probably get rid of that, but I was just thinking of if it wasn't called the Skaar Cerberus, what else could I call it? And this is just a random thought of a Cerberus. I don't know. If you got any opinion on that one, let me know. But right now, I don't plan on calling it Cerberus. I still plan on calling it the Skaar Cerberus and not Cerberus. But if you like the Cerberus, I could do that too. I think it sort of works. Alright, well, another thing that this thing is going to have in it is a repair bay that I have not incorporated in the ship yet. And I was actually thinking about putting that here. Let's make some modifications so we can get that in. Now, one thing about putting in a repair bay is it needs to be sealed off on the bottom side too, because I don't believe these things are airtight. We want a T2 repair bay too. So let's get rid of that for now. So I'm going to pop this in for now and then take a look at the underside. Underside, I do have a lot more work to do on it. I virtually didn't texture anything down here at all. I did a mass fill and that was about it. And let's see, I'm going to need some combat steel for this. And we got to get a block row below the repair bay, which is okay on this ship because it actually sits up a little. It's got a little bit higher stance to it, so it makes it a little easier to work with that. Alright, so we'll just put in some full blocks here for now and figure out how we're going to conceal this. I don't want it to stick down too far, so I'm gonna let's do something like something like this. And we could put in another block like this over that, which would seal that in. And then here, maybe I'll just go straight with this one. Oops. Do something like that. Alright, so then we got a repair bay. Reason why I wanted to put that in right now is I want to set up illumination specifically for this, which I think is kind of a cool effect. So let's get some kind of, make it look like there's something kind of holding it there, and maybe I don't know, maybe an alternative texture around it. Color that in. Let's get a little bit of decal action going around that. And I'll try to mix it up a little bit, maybe do something like that. Okay, so we have our repair bay. Now, lighting for it. Right up at the top here, what I could do is I kind of want a light that faces straight down on it. Maybe something like that. And let's do this in red. And it's probably going to have a low spotlight angle on this one. Let's lower the lighting down and see what that's looking like. Does illuminate it. The thing is, what I would really like to see here, this is temporary again, is if I could lower that light down one block square, one way or another, let's say we do something like that, and then put the, oh, here, I'll texture that first in case I keep it. Something like that, and slap in a light there. Now it gets a little bit closer to the ground, which does illuminate it a little bit better. Now another thing I do plan on doing too is chopping up the ceiling a little bit more. It's kind of awfully uniform and boring here, so I might do a little bit what I did with the Raider and kind of do a little asymmetry stuff, like maybe make it look like there's a fake door or some other junk in the ceiling there. That shouldn't cost me any more blocks or anything like that, so it should not be a size class factor. It's just trying to get that that crudeness to it, which I do try to do. Alright, so now in the hangar here we do have some lighting, at least, so it's getting a little bit better, but really boring up in these corners here. So that's another area which it really, I think, needs some additional lighting to try to make this look better. Now there's a couple ways I could do it. Could again try to angle some lights down into that section from the ceiling, like something like that maybe, but not exactly that. And the color I'm using here I don't think is appropriate. That is way too red. No, not really liking that. So let's try putting in a top-down light from in here instead. And then let's change your color, hit it back to gray, maybe jump up your angle there. Let's see, so I have that in the center there. Something like that, I guess. Alright. Sort of getting there. Now, what I was talking about on the other thing with lighting, too, is putting in a non-spotlight occasionally. And that is, I'll show you the effect that can do. I'm just trying to figure out a location. I don't want to, like, double them up. I'd just soon put in one if I could and not two. Anything I can do to keep this a little bit, as these chew up size class rapidly, excuse me. Okay, so let's put in something here. I'm going to get rid of the spotlight. I'm going to lower the intensity down. It no longer matters on the spot angle over here. And let's put in let's try a mixed color there. So now if you can see what that did, it kind of just made that whole area kind of brighter. I just don't know if that looks better or not is the thing. Maybe it's my color. Maybe. Trying to get that contrast, the shadowy difference here, and I don't think that light's really accomplishing the effect I wanted. Probably looks better without it. If it looks better without it, yeah. I mean, of course, with doing this stuff too, I'd rather use as few of lights as I could for the size class aspect of it. Okay, so now another thing this is going to need too, because it has the repair bay now installed, it's going to need a repair console. So let's see if we can sneak this in somewhere that feels appropriate for it. It kind of, typically I would want to keep that kind of close to the repair bay. Can't be right next to it or anything like that. You got to have that space. So, but yeah, I did these two little uniform constructors up here. So this would be a great spot for it. But I don't have a lot of room because of what I did there. And also these little walkways over here. see, where else could a repair console go? I wouldn't want it way up over there. I'm trying to keep these whole areas kind of free of clutter, so you've got that extra room for docking. I guess it would make most sense putting it up here. So maybe I just, man, if I didn't run those extra blocks there, I could easily fit it like that. And I would want to keep that uniform on the other side. You don't really need guardrails on a 1 block tall staircase like that. I usually do it with bigger staircases though. Alright, well, a little bit better. Alright, let's take a look at one other thing here. Now obviously I'm kind of going through the whole ship doing the same kind of thing, and I want to just make it as detailed as I can without, but keeping a mindful eye on size class. Like over here where I put all these lights, I think it needs to be, I think, filled in with something here too. Block-wise, I'm just taking a look at some options. What if, probably just put in something like that. And, yeah, I might do something a little bit different there too. I want to have this connect to that light. That's down a block, and maybe I'll move that whole other apparatus down a block too. I think it'd probably look better in the end. But but I got to make some kind of extension mount that can hold it one way or another. So I'm going to try doing this instead. And then I think I'm going to just be forced to put in a full block there. And then these, actually, if I did that too, then these side lights, I might be able to move them. Let's see. Let's take a look at their settings. Okay, nothing special. Okay, let's pull those out. And temporarily, I'm just going to throw a couple of temp blocks here. So you were 2, 119, same thing. Get rid of those. Pop in something that kind of looks like they support it. Like that. And looking at nighttime, it should bring the lights a little closer to the floor, which I think will help in the general appearance of it anyway. So I'll probably do the same thing back over here. That would make sense. Alright, let's do that real quick. So, bam, and bam, and bam. Put in a full block here. And you know what we could do here is kind of make it fit. So we go there and then back down. And put in a couple like that. And then I should be able to re-put in the lights. Just down an extra row. And I think, well, let's change the color of that one a minute. Now another thing, and what I'm going to do too, is probably go through and fine tune all the spotlight angles or spot angles on these things too, and try to dial that in. get the best illumination. Kind of. Sometimes I'll even offset one. Like this one side might be at 119, and the other side maybe I'll have it at like 133 or something like that, just to give it fluctuation between the two sides. Like it's imperfect. You're not getting perfectly uniform light across the ship on purpose. Now, one thing that could be done here too, I think maybe I will go ahead and do that now, is I'll put in like a little row of blocks here to give it something else in between the two. So I'll have to texture all that up too. Oh, and you know what? Actually, that could actually join right to that too. So it's got that big center column going all the way across. Yeah, I think that'll work. Yeah, next part I'll probably do off screen is probably kind of mess with this areas or these areas on the sides here, probably in non-asymmetry, so I can like make a little bit different things going on each side. All right. Well, anyway, that's pretty much what I wanted to show you today. And my next thing too, one of my other detail things when I'm doing this, I'm going to try to come up with a better look to get rid of any potential frogginess on the front, and maybe try to find a hybrid version between what's here and what's here. Not exactly sure what I'm going to do about that yet. I might have to restructure some of this stuff up here to pull that off. Now this one is a lot more roundy of a bridge than the original one had. Maybe it shouldn't be. I'll have to mess with it until I come up with something that I think looks good. Now I don't necessarily hate what's there, and I do think it does look more detailed than what the original does, but I can kind of see that frog look a little bit though, and at the same time. So it doesn't look as fierce. I want this to look really fierce up here. So almost, I even thought of an idea of like running some columns down and having almost like some things that kind of look like fangs or something off from there, just to give it that look. It's it should be all right. As in flying this thing, it flies pretty good. It's got a lot of lift power. It turns, well, you would expect a ship this size to turn, I would say, especially being built of combat steel. And with the 8 lift thrusters, it does have a lot of lift. I didn't put a huge amount of storage in here. It's got essentially 5 320K storage systems, and then I think another 80K for ammo. Oh, those twigs. Man, this is just one thing that, it's been a problem for a very, very long time. Is, I understand you want some decoration on your terrain, but man, when you come down, a ship that weighs who knows how many tons should just snap this like nothing, and just destroy it when it comes down. But it doesn't. In fact, it holds the entire ship off the ground, and that has got to change. I mean, these are these little things that are been called out upon for a very long time, and I really, really hope something gets done about this little stuff like this, because it's silly. It's silly that this is happening, as it shouldn't be, and it's probably this cactus over here that's holding me up. In fact, let's get rid of that cactus, and just to make sure, we'll get rid of this cactus. Any more cactuses? Okay, that looks good. So now maybe I can actually land the ship on the ground. And so this probably about 5,000 ton ship can land on its feet. Okay. Who knows how much? Well, actually, how much does it weigh? Does it say? I just made that that number up hypothetically there, but 18.1 kilotons. So that'd be 1,000 tons each. 18, yeah. Well, put it this way, it's very heavy. I should have snapped the cactus. Anyway, you all have a good day. Now there are some more Skaar creations I'm getting by or seen by the two authors that have been working on them recently. So I will show that stuff probably on the next video again in updates. And I'm also kind of looking forward to seeing that Nemesis. I didn't show you the inside of what he had done on the last video. I figured I'd just wait until the ship was, ready, completely finished off. And he also said that that would be released this weekend. This ship, I'm kind of steering for releasing possibly this weekend, but I might try to finish up an SV as well. I'll release something this Sunday. I'm just not sure. I want to make sure that this one is fully tweaked and fully ready, and I don't know if I'm going to get enough time to make it the way I want it to be prior to Sunday. I don't know yet. So I don't want to try to rush it and ship it off the door. This the Cerberus, like every author, if you build a lot of stuff for the workshop, you have your favorites, your personal favorites of what you made, and the Cerberus is in my top categories of favorite ships that I've made. Although by looking at the original, it's well, it was certainly a stepping stone for me. Building this ship was like the Manicorn Cerberus came out around the same time. When the next big ship that I built was the Gigacore. I think the Gigacore was out before the Perseus. And the Gigacore, although it's still textured similarly to the gray look, it was a step up in detail for me, and a little bit more of a complicated, well, I wouldn't say that, but it was based around the idea of making thrusters, building one of these and being able to rotate and copy and paste that across the rest of the ship. And then I actually separate it and put in an angled hallway so you could get into the thrusters from the inside of the ship to see what's in there. Issue I ran into with this ship, though, is that I used so many blocks and parts and things on these thrusters, because I knew I was going to copy and paste it, so I tried to get the best detail I could out of it originally on what I knew how to do at the time. And they just suck the size class up like crazy. I think each one of these thruster pods is over one size class. So by the time I had those thrusters mounted, it was just destroying size class on this ship. And then I was also, on the basic design, although I had these really big hangar doors and a straight through effect, I guess the hangar's not small, but a lot of the stuff kind of approached, kind of jumped in the hangar where it didn't have as much space as I would have really liked it to have in here, width-wise especially, as in how I did the center up. So, yeah. But another thing I did really like about this ship is it had this double deck bridge up here, and I always did like the bridge. I thought this was kind of neat, kind of looking down, and how that lines up with the. Oh man, look at this! See, I didn't know about this glass window changing the stuff then either. And of course, as these ships age too, a lot of the textures change their angles and stuff like that. So, from how this was originally built. But yeah, someday I might dig into this one too. One of the main reasons why I haven't so far is because it's so up to the fence on size class how it sits. I didn't want to make it go past size class 10, and as you can see, it's at 10.48 stock. So that puts me at a thing. It's hey, you want to make the ship look better and more detailed? Really, the only way I'm going to be able to do that is jump the size class up some more, or do some major redesigns on it, which would probably involve building new thruster pods that are lesser, I guess, or less size class intensive, and probably using larger and less thrusters and things like that as well. So, and then of course the other problem I didn't particularly like is the width of the hangar, which like these bays here almost need to be, or I would probably just remove this whole chunk of boxes and stuff that are right there. This also went down into like an engineering room at the bottom of the ship, which, yeah. Oh, and and then also I've got some buried thrusters here too, technically speaking. I don't like to do that, but there's a wall in front of them out there. At the time when I built this ship, there is a rumor, I don't know if it was ever confirmed or maybe it was mentioned by someone at some point, but I was going on the idea that the thruster would be legit if it had 6 blocks open air um, past where the thruster went. So I built this design around that idea. Um, as it turned out, that never actually materialized. In fact, nothing ever really was done about the thruster and blocking them, period. And I doubt that it will anymore. So, but still, with me, if you had something in reality, I had these big hot thrusters here that pointed right at this. That would be catastrophic for the ship and look just simply not plausible. Would melt the part of the ship and block thrust, and oh yeah, it would probably explode. So anyway, that's it for me today, and I may have another video tomorrow with some more updates and show you some other Skaar creations by other authors. And see you later, all.